A seatbelt can stop you from going into a store. A seatbelt can stop you from climbing a tree. It can stop you from flying or from rolling down a hill. A seatbelt can stop you from doing a lot of things, like crushing bones and damaging vital organs. It can even save your life. That's why we enforce seatbelt laws, to save lives. So buckle up every trip, every time. Click it or ticket. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Blog Talk Radio.
All right. I hope you guys are ready. Of course, our first episode. So we're going to start off big with the announcement of what we're going to call this thing. So let's get right to it.
The kids do dig that sucker! From parts unknown comes the greatest tag team in podcast history. Put your hands together for Rablo and ICE.
All right. Everybody calm down. We appreciate the warm reception. Rablo, how's it going, brother?
It's going good. I'm excited to kick off this show, man. This is something that the wrestling universe definitely needed. A phenomenal new show, no pun intended.
Yeah, there you go. Phenomenal too, I guess, hopefully. But anyway, so I'm Ice. Of course, it's Rablo. We're going to be bringing you this show every week. Can you dig that? Thank you, Booker T, for the inspiration and the introduction there. So I guess first thing we do is when we introduce ourselves. So Rablo, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself and what you enjoy about wrestling?
Well, what's up, guys? My name is Rablo, man. Actually, I love wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. Funny story about it is I did fall off for a little bit, but then I had a son, and I felt like it was only right that, I try to get him into wrestling. So I told myself that I was going to watch it that way. If he does end up watching it, I can know exactly what's going on, and I ended up getting hooked right again. So,
Gotcha.
I've always been a wrestling fan. I've always loved talking wrestling. I'm a little bit, one of those fans who just always, no matter what the product gave us, I'm always, watching. So I'm glad to be here talking about it now. It's a long time coming.
Yeah. All right. And I guess for me, I've been a fan, I guess, as long as I can remember. Even as a little kid, my parents had like pictures of me, making my own wrestling belt and stuff at like 3 and 4. So there have been times I've sort of fallen away from watching every week or, things like that. But it's never taken much for me to get, I guess, hooked back in. And right now, I'm particularly interested. And like you, I have a son. He doesn't get to watch, but the funny thing is, even at 3, like his friends and stuff at school, they talk about wrestling, so like he talks about John Cena and The Rock, so I know that, I guess the other dads are talking to their boys about wrestling because obviously The Rock hasn't wrestled in years, right? And you got 3-year-olds still talking about it. But anyway, let's get into it, man. I guess first thing I want to get into a couple little news and notes off or outside the ring. I almost said off the court because, of course, do a sports talk show on YouTube. But first couple things, I guess Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella have had their baby. So congratulations to them,
Congratulations. That's big.
Yeah. And second thing, article, I guess, in GQ where The Rock talks about possibly running for president in 2020, which a couple years ago may have sounded crazy, but now that Donald Trump has gone from real estate mogul to reality TV to president, it's not that far fetched that The Rock could be our next president.
Anything is possible nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. I think the power of celebrity, is definitely going to overwhelm, I think, the traditional politicians. So I don't know. It'd be interesting. The Rock versus Trump. It's sounds like a WrestleMania headline. And the funny thing is, actually, both of them are in the WWE Hall of Fame, and that could literally be the next presidential election. I don't know. I imagine Trump may not run for re-election because of his age, and he probably beating The Rock might be hard. I don't know. Be interested to see how that plays out. Not sure where the country's going, but hey, I guess it won't be that long for the next black president if The Rock does run. That's just crazy to think about. That might be the next president.
I couldn't even imagine that would. I mean, I'm lost of words. How do you think the overall reaction would be if he actually even won it?
I think, especially if Trump runs for re-election and The Rock beat him, I think you'd see a big relief from a lot of people, and not so much that. I mean, there'll be those hardcore Rock fans or people who grew up with The Rock, in movies and wrestling and stuff, who would be excited. But I think you'd have a large portion of the population who would just be excited because Trump would be leaving. You know what I mean? I hate to say it that way, but we saw after Trump got elected all the riots and marches and stuff going on across the country. So I think those people would just be relieved that somebody new is coming in. But I don't know. Of course, we're talking 3 years down the road, so things could be totally different by then. Is one thing we've learned: things are changing fast in America.
True that. True to that.
All right, so let's get into it. Now, of course, with the brand split, right? You have, still have the same number of championships, but they're all sort of split up. And I guess I shouldn't say same number because now they added the Raw. They have a different women's champion and a different tag team champion for each show, and then you have the Universal Championship. But so that all begs the question: which championship is the most important in the company right now? Or championships even that important anymore?
I would say actually the U.S. title is the most important right now, and I would have to say the Intercontinental Championship is the second most important, which is kind of weird, seeing that the landscape for the WWE last year. I mean, you could argue that both of those titles was irrelevant unless Rusev or John Cena was holding the U.S. title, and the Intercontinental title just went to everybody. So it's kind of different. It's kind of weird. It's kind of different, but I like it. I don't know why, but the U.S. title situation, I love it. I just wish it was for the big title, but I'm fine with the U.S. title being that important right now.
Yeah, I like it because, and I see your point. Of course, okay, with the Universal title, you got Lesnar has it now, and he's gone. Right? I'm sure he'll pop up as you get closer to SummerSlam or whatever, but, he's not going to be defending the belt every month or every week on Raw, right? And then the world title or WWE title, sorry. Of course, Randy Orton has it, but, the feud with Bray Wyatt, the title became something that wasn't even really talked about or focused on anymore. And even their last match suddenly became a non-title match, So, so just a lot of odd things going on there. And I guess really the focus now is Jinder sort of entering the title picture now that Bray Wyatt's gone from SmackDown. And then plus with, the U.S. Championship, you got Kevin Owens and now you got AJ Styles in the picture. And, they're probably two of the best, or definitely two of the top 3 or 4 guys in the whole company. When you consider just quality of their matches. So, and I like the new Kevin Owens gimmick of, the new face of America, with him being Canadian and all. And unfortunately, I guess with the show being in London, it didn't get the same kind of reaction or heat I think, they would get in America with a Canadian calling himself the new face of America. But what were your thoughts on the shows this week from London?
I thought the crowd wasn't as good as it should have been, because there was actually some really good promos cut, some really good matches. What I am surprised, and I've seen all over Twitter, is that usually, when, wrestling does go overseas, it's like a throwaway matches or a throwaway Raw, throwaway SmackDown. But both Raw and SmackDown this week was actually pretty impressive. Of course, SmackDown more than Raw, because SmackDown is the superior show. We know this.
Okay, we got to talk about that.
But I was impressed. I'm definitely loving the segments. Still, gender being in the title picture confuses me to this day. And what I'm not sure how I feel about Sami Zayn and Raw on SmackDown yet. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I guess they don't want to rush it. But the London shows was quite impressive, because I expected like a down week as far as Raw and SmackDown, but it was the complete opposite. So I was actually kind of impressed.
Yeah, and I guess at Raw, it was kind of cool that they didn't have, your typical general manager, commissioner coming out to start the show. You kind of, you got caught off guard with the whole Dean Ambrose and The Miz, which kind of perfect foils for each other, right? Being the co-GMs for the night. And, just some of the things they put together, and, I think they have good chemistry on the mic together. So, yeah. And then also with Raw, it started off a little different than normal. You had more people come out and join sort of the beginning of the show, right? Even Kalisto. So it's almost like a page out of SmackDown's book there, to not just have this 15-minute monologue to open the show like they normally do on Raw. So it's good to see, them freshen that up. Good to see Kalisto get some shine, make the show a little less predictable. SmackDown, it was an all right show, I mean, obviously, I'm older than you, but, I prefer Raw. That's where the history is. That's the engine that drives the WWE train, Monday Night Raw. But Whackdown isn't bad. I mean, SmackDown, sorry. Isn't bad. They're doing their thing.
I would argue to the point that Raw, what they've done and the talent that they have, is one of the main reasons I would have to say SmackDown is by far the superior show. Because before even they did the roster swap and the change up and brought Kurt Angle and did all these changes and got the Hardy Boys, they did have Sami Zayn, they did have Rusev, they did have all of these marquee guys, and they couldn't do anything with them. You bring them to SmackDown, they're already shining. Me personally, my biggest pick with Raw is that it's the same old thing over and over again. You get the same old matches. You get the Authority versus, the roster. With SmackDown is the land of opportunity. And, I mean, Ginger being a title picture should show it all. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something big with Rusev when he comes. I've been so impressed with what SmackDown has done with by far little talent than Raw. It's insane. The only downside about SmackDown is the women's division, but that's getting better now with Charlotte there. So, I mean,
well, that's true.
Raw has no excuse not to be better than SmackDown, but they're not because, just the overall, yeah.
Well, and to your point, it is a lot of the same stuff. Now, of course, that's normally been a tried and true formula, but Monday night show, like I said, was definitely a big step away from the normal, either Stephanie or somebody comes out and talks for 15 minutes or 10 minutes. They got away from that, brought in 3 or 4 guys, had storylines sort of intersecting. So I like that. With Raw, there's a ton of talent. I think there's once they figure out how to handle Seth Rollins, I think other things in Raw will sort of fall in line. The best, to me, the best time Seth had was when he was running with the belt and he had J&J security, and all that stuff. Because you felt like he was this desperate champion. You know what I mean? He had a character and a place, and now he's supposed to be a good guy, but he doesn't really have a place or a character. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's hard to take advantage of this major talent because he's sort of stuck in this weird area with no real character right now.
I totally agree. Not to cut you off, but
no.
It's the same. It's the same thing with Finn Balor. It's like you have
Good
these
point.
key guys,
Right.
Samoa Joe, and then like you said, Rollins. And then you have talent like Cesaro and Sheamus, and you put them as a tag team, which, they're a great tag team, but you have guys like Enzo and Cass who should have had a title. You know what I mean?
Right.
You bring your best tag team, in my opinion, New Day to SmackDown, so now you left with a subpar tag team division. You have the Bullet Club on there, Carlos and Anderson, who should have, had these nice top matches with Enzo and Cash, and now that you have the Hardy Boys, you could do something with that. But no, you stick Cesaro and Sheamus on the tag team. You have Rollins versus Samoa Joe. You have Finn Balor losing in a triple threat match to Rollins and The Miz. You have The Miz versus Dean Ambrose, which we saw this story over and over again. It's the same exact thing, just revisited, remixed into something new.
Yeah. And, now, like I said, I prefer Raw. SmackDown sometimes, SmackDown kind of reminds me of like back in the old like territory days, almost like an old NWA show in some sense. And so I parts of me like that. But with Raw, things just feel bigger. And you have Braun Strowman, who, I'm just interested to see what he's going to do next, right? He's, turned over ambulances, crashing a ring, whereas on SmackDown, I get the Land of Opportunity thing, but you got Mojo playing a major role, come on.
And I definitely agree with you on that point. My thing with Braun Strowman is I love the guy, don't get me wrong, and I love that he beat out Roman Reigns. Thank you, Strowman.
Yeah. You and everybody else on the internet seem to love that.
My thing with Braun Strowman is he necessarily good for the WWE to have somebody that unstoppable? It's like you're creating another Brock Lesnar. Now, credit Strowman, he won't be a part-timer like Brock Lesnar or like a Goldberg, that unstoppable force, but can he really hold himself on the mic? Can he really be that guy? And do we really want to have a guy that unstoppable with the Universal title that is already going downhill?
Well, and that's a great question. And I think, yeah, that's a good point. Is long term, right? Like obviously you can keep this up for 6 months, a year, or whatever, but there's only so long you can keep him away from the title, and it makes sense, right? Because eventually, it's not like he's not like the Undertaker where he has this supernatural gimmick, right? Where he's just supposed to be just a regular guy who likes to come and fight and beat people up. So eventually, he's gonna want the belt. So I really think. And I guess one of the things, is you sort of reference with the whole Roman Reigns thing. Obviously they're trying to do what they can to make him the top guy, make him the I guess John Cena replacement. I definitely see Roman Reigns winning the belt at the next WrestleMania in some sort of impossible odds. So will that be?
Say that. No.
I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm just saying they're setting him up to be like, just look at the arc of things, and it's either going to be Brock Lesnar or Braun Strowman that he beat. You know what I mean? It's going to be somebody that seems unbeatable that he's going to go over to win the belt. Unfortunately, that's just how I see this thing playing out, barring injury or something like that changes plans. So, I don't know, but I guess we've sort of talked a little bit about it. So as you guys heard, I prefer Raw. My man Rablo prefers SmackDown. So we did a little poll, and I guess people on Twitter slightly agree with you. But we definitely want you guys to interact with us on social media. Use the hashtag CYDT. That's for Can You Dig That? Just go hashtag CYD as in dig, T as in that. And, ask questions or hit us up with opinions or whatever. And we'll definitely, respond and interact with you and make you part of the show. And in the future, we'll actually have the ability to take live calls and things like that. We just didn't do that this week because it's the first show. But in the future, we will let you know in advance when we're going to be on and give you the links. You can listen live if you want to. And we'll also be on SoundCloud. And in addition to listening live, I said you'll be able to call in and join the show. We're going to have some special guests for you and things like that coming up too. But anyway, let's get to your man Jinder Mahal, the Maharaji, or I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but anyway, somebody will correct me. I'm impressed. I think he's doing a good job to be sort of shoved into the spot, because it wasn't that long ago he was just Rusev's, lackey, I guess, and then he changed his shows, and now he's in the main event picture, right? Or I guess championship picture. I guess the main event's probably really Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, but fighting for the WWE title, which is kind of cool. He obviously looks great. He's been definitely busting it in the gym for sure. And the two guys that have with him, the Singh brothers. How tall are these guys? Because Jinder looks like he's 7 feet tall when he's next to them. Is it just me, or are they standing like 3 feet behind him, or he just looks so tall when they're with him?
I don't know. They got Jinder looking like the Hulk right now.
Yeah. But I hate. Well, I shouldn't say hate, but I think they missed a good opportunity with when he stole the belt from Randy, You know, and then he's taking the photos with it or whatever. And then Shane just walks up and is like, hey, give me that back, you know. And he just hands it back. Like, you know, they should have done like it should have been like Randy Orton, like looking for Jinder, right? Or looking for his belt. And then you go to Jinder taking the photos and then RKO out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And he takes the belt back or something. Like, I'd like, how did they not do RKO out of nowhere? That's what I was waiting for while he was taking those photos with the belt. You know, I was like, okay, Randy Orton's about to come RKO him. And no Randy Orton. Here comes Shane McMahon, who, I mean, don't get wrong. Obviously, Shane's very talented, you know, but since he's been back, he just seems so understated most of the time that I don't know, you know, wrestling, you know, they're normally turned up, right? They're normally personalities loud, you know, and I just don't see that with Shane since he's been back.
Yeah, I agree. Jinder, it confuses me, but again, this is one of the reasons why I like SmackDown over Raw. The most unthinkable situation you thought you would see. You know, us WWE fans, we always say, you know, we want to see something unpredictable. We don't want to know what's going to happen. No one predicted this. You know, no one predicted Jinder Mahal would be, you know, fighting for the title against Randy Orton. No way. This guy was just a jobber, you know. So I like it, but I don't like it at the same time because you do have a Sami Zayn who's not getting looked at. You know, you do have AJ Styles who definitely should have a main title over Jinder or be in the main title picture. But you know, with the whole Shane McMahon thing, I think he's took a back seat. I would like to see more of Daniel Bryan. I would like to see more of Shane McMahon. But then again, I don't want it to turn into Raw, so I am fine with that. However, I do agree with you. I would have loved to see a RKO out of nowhere, or at least some type of funny promo to where he's taking the pictures and something happens, you know, something classic. I feel like that could have been a classical moment that was definitely missed.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, right. They could have brought in like some old timer or something to say something funny, or you know, one of their lines, or you know, they could have brought in Ric Flair to say, hey, you know, that's not your belt. To be the man, you got to beat the man, or something, right? You know, anything other than just Shane walking up, you know, nice and calm. Hey, you know, I need that back. You know what I mean? Like he borrowed $5 or something. I don't know. It was just very odd. You know, to go through all the trouble setting up him taking the belt, and they're making a big deal about it as he's going up the ramp with the belt, and you know, just okay, cool, here you go. You know, I don't know. It's just
I feel like it was short and sweet too. It wasn't even like no type of interaction back with it.
Right.
The dialogue
right.
was very just dry and cut to the point.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, to your point, you know, I guess given the news with Daniel Bryan's baby and stuff, maybe a little while before we see him, but definitely enjoy seeing him. And of course, he always gets a lot of energy out of the crowd just with the yes chant. And of course, and then his interaction. Well, I guess we'll miss his interaction with the Miz. You know, they sort of had that ongoing feud, even though Bryan couldn't wrestle. And now the Miz has moved over to Monday Night Raw. You know, with Sami Zayn, though, you brought up Sami. I think obviously his talent's there. You know, you can see just the great matches. You know, there's not much he can't do. I think his character just seems so cartoonish that until that changes, I just can't see him moving up the ranks. And since he's moved to SmackDown, it seems like he's like even his entrance just seems extra cartoon. Like he's just, you know, so many exaggerated motions and things, his little dances he's coming to the ring. You know, it just doesn't beg to be taken seriously. I mean, of course, this is wrestling, you know, but you know what I mean? Like it's not threatening or intimidating, and I don't know. I guess I had a hard time trying to figure out exactly like what he's supposed to be, the way he's dressed and stuff, So maybe that's, maybe the dance fits into that, but it's definitely not a look I'm familiar with. I know he's not from the U.S., right? So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But like Kevin Owens, he's supposed to be just prize fighter, right? So he came in, he had the shirt with the tape on it, and and like the boxing style shorts, so it looked like, I'm just a badass prize fighter, right? I don't know what Sami Zayn's supposed to be when I see him, I don't know if he's supposed to be selling me coffee or delivering my newspaper. Like, I don't know, but it doesn't seem intimidating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. I the reason I think I like Sami so much is because not only do he have the mic skills, but the guy can wrestle. He put on some phenomenal matches, no pun intended, with Kevin Owens. Some really good matches in NXT. And I felt like since moving to the main roster, he hasn't had the opportunities he should have had. Now, I would have I would have loved to see Sami Zayn versus, I cannot say this guy's name to save my life, but Samaka Huhu, whatever. I'm not even going to try to attempt it. I'm terrible at it. Over Dolph Ziggler versus him. I would rather see Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I stick to his last
terrible
name.
At the name.
Yeah. I don't get to watch much NXT. Or any really. But obviously, keep up online and see highlights and things. So I was familiar with Nakamura. I don't see all the hype. Maybe because I haven't seen one of his matches yet. I've seen highlights and things, but I mean, I know he does a lot of like showmanship type stuff, and but he, it doesn't look fluid to me. It looks kind of forced, and I don't know. I just don't get the hype. Maybe after this pay-per-view with this match with Dolph, maybe I'll get it. But
man, the guy could wrestle. The guy could wrestle, man. He's up there with AJ Styles. He really is when it comes to the wrestling.
Oh wow, okay, like a bigger AJ. Okay, all right. So now you got me excited. Okay, and of course we know Dolph can go, so it could be a good match. And maybe they didn't put him against Sami because they didn't want to bury Sami any further under another new guy. I'll be interested to see when Sami makes that sort of switch to start winning and rising up, because really, I mean, he's really just a glorified jobber for the most part.
Which is so disappointing because he's so much better than that, So I don't know. I would like, me personally, I would like to see either Sami Zayn in the actual title hunt, as far as U.S. title, or maybe even the WWE Championship. But I mean, if you don't have any room for him, I'm all for putting him in a tag team with like Chris Jericho or something, and actually letting him, go for the tag team titles. Just give him something to look towards to. Just I'm tired of the job.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that, and I mean, I know the easy thing to do is to reignite his feud with Kevin Owens, right? Somehow, and let that play out and just have a bunch of great matches. But I mean, if SmackDown is really going to be the land of opportunity, and the way things are going, let's just say, Randy Orton, who has his fair share of enemies outside of gender, let's say the Singh brothers, and even if somehow Bray Wyatt interferes or something and Randy loses the belt to gender, we could see a gender Sami feud for the belt, right? That'd be very entertaining. I'd be into that, because it's something I've never seen before. And it's unexpected. So I would definitely be into Jinder and Sammy for the belt. To see how they rise up, in that moment. You know what I mean? I know see a lot of things online, Jinder sort of catching a hard time. I think he's been doing a great job in the spot he's in. And especially a guy like Randy, not the most charismatic person, so it's not you're not going to give him a whole lot to work with. But to me, Jinder's sort of carrying that feud, just the angry faces and things that he makes, and then the whole speaking to his people in their language and stuff, bringing some heat his way. And I think that'll translate better on TV when they're back in the States, because like the things they're doing to get heat are really designed for people in the U.S. These other countries aren't going to react the same way.
Oh yeah, I agree, definitely. I'm waiting for them to go back to Chicago or something. We need one of those type of crowds to get it really live. Yeah, that's true. And speaking of which, we got to check see when they're coming back our way. I know we're both in North Carolina, so we're gonna check out a match. I'd like to go to a house show, to be honest with you. Anyway, all right. So what's the next pay for you? Is it Backlash? I keep getting Backlash and Payback mixed up. Is it Backlash coming up, right? Yes, that's where Randy SmackDown.
Yeah, Randy and Jinder will face each other. Okay. And of course Jericho, I guess, moved to SmackDown, and but I'm thinking he's taking some time off now, or whatever. Because I think his band's about to go on tour or something. I read somewhere.
Yeah, but that WWE's reporting he'll be back later this year, so.
Oh yeah, he'll be back SummerSlam and all
WWE.
that. Yeah, he's been doing a great job, especially considering his age and everything. He's definitely probably one of the main entertainment points, since the brand split for sure. Drink it in, man. The list. Which actually I thought about calling this show The List. But anyway, so let's wrap this puppy up here. So Rablo, what I guess for the people out there, what can they expect from us every week, and what are you looking forward to?
Well, you guys could definitely expect a lot of great things, man. This is going to be, hopefully, you guys' this new home to come and listen to Wrestling Talk, where you could just hear different opinions. Sometimes you guys come on a show and talk wrestling with us, and just be a big wrestling community. This is about to be the new. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but the new phenomenon. I don't know, but this is going to be great, guys. This is going to be phenomenal. No pun intended. Again,
the new movement, right? Right. The biggest thing since the New Day. We're the new Day. But speaking of which, when are they coming back? I'm interested to see them. I hope they're not as corny. Hopefully this time away they kind of reinvent themselves a little bit. I really want to see them become more, click into like more of an ass kicking mode, butt kicking mode, I should say. It's
weird because it's weird because they're on SmackDown, and I'm just thinking about it. Like SmackDown already is like, in my opinion, already stopped. So how do you fit New Day in a 2-hour show? I just don't see it being possible. I feel like they should have stayed on Raw. I don't see how they could fit when you bringing back Rusev, and it's like you have so many pieces to fit in 2 hours.
Yeah, and Lana, right? And Lana looks like her and Rusev are going to be like separated, right? So she needs her own time. Now I will say I do like, speaking of Lana in the women's division, I guess Lana's going to be wrestling. I've read that she was wrestling in NXT. So the way they're booking, I mean, the way the vignettes for her seem like she's gonna be, solo. So I'm assuming she would be wrestling because otherwise, like a solo manager doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? So
that would be interesting.
Yeah, I like the women's division. Well, I like Charlotte with the SmackDown ladies because I think size-wise they match up better. I mean, she's still bigger or, taller, I guess, than the other women, but like seeing when they had her and Becky Lynch together and Naomi, it didn't seem like this massive difference. But when she's standing next to Bailey and standing next to Sasha, it looked like a massive difference, So I think this is just gonna visually just look more believable with the women she's gonna be going against now. And Tamina, they just look like, there's a chance. Whereas, Charlotte and Sasha had a lot of great matches, but just seeing them stand beside each other, it's like, really? Speaking of which, on, I know you're the SmackDown expert. Does Tamina ever wrestle? Does she just come out to the ring?
I don't see where she could even fit into wrestling. There's no time for her.
Oh, that's a good point.
So that's why I'm confused because there's a lot of talent, and there's just no time for anybody really. It seems like they don't even make time for tag team division anymore.
Well, and with the New Day, because with the New Day, I could see. All right. Well, no one to your point, the show is only 2 hours instead of 3, so that means New Day can't just come out there and talk for 8 minutes right before a match. With them, I'm hoping that, this time away and, the fact they lost the belts will sort of almost create like a mean streak in them. I mean, still have, some of the lighthearted stuff or the pop culture references or whatever, current event references, but just more of a mean streak and less of the gimmicky stuff, and all the whoo and all that stuff, let all that go. And, come out there and act like you're upset about not being the dominant team anymore. And, you have something to prove or whatever, like, let's see some motivation other than just trying to be clowns and entertaining. You know what I mean? Is what I'm hoping when they come. And I really want to see Rusev come back. I love Rusev. I thought I think things got off track with Rusev when they tried to have that whole Dolph Ziggler, Lana storyline, and then Summer Rae got involved somehow, and then I don't know, like it just got way off track, and it got to the point where it didn't make any sense, and then in real life, Lana and Rusev get engaged, and that's news is out there, so it's like not matching up with their characters, and just created a convoluted mess, and they finally just dropped it, I guess. Thank God. But now that he's going over to SmackDown, I'm hoping he can get back on track. Because to me, he's definitely just impressive to watch, and just the facial expressions and the other things, it just seems so vicious. And sometimes I think that's kind of what's missing from a lot of today's wrestlers. They just don't seem vicious. And who knows if, maybe he comes back and feuds with Jinder, right? Like you were my understudy and now you're, the champion or whatever,
Which I could definitely see because he's saying he wants a title shot. So my best guess is that Jinder actually beats Randy Orton. And then it's Rusev versus Jinder, and I'm hoping Rusev gets the title because I do not see Jinder carrying that title whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or does, or do they do something like, or have they been pump faking us the whole time, and Rusev comes back and fights Jinder for the right to be the number one contender. You know what I mean? And then he wins, and then Rusev goes on to beat Randy Orton, and Ginger's left out in the cold, or something like that.
That would be funny. That would be good. That would be really good, actually.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how all this shakes out. But anyway, we do appreciate all you guys listening, guys and gals. So like I said, hit us up on Twitter. Use hashtag CYDT. And I don't know, maybe we should make a Twitter account just for this show. I don't know. I guess it's something I need to think about. I'm with it.
We should definitely do it.
Yeah, that might make it easier for people. And I already got like 3 Twitter accounts, so I have to let you manage this one because I can't take another Twitter account. But
no problem.
But anyway, we're definitely gonna keep bringing it. Wrestling talk. We're gonna bring on guests. Other, got a couple connections with some former wrestlers. A couple guys who are like in Ring of Honor, things like that. We'll bring them on the show, and just try to entertain you guys. And like I said, gonna have you on the show, so just stick with us. We're gonna make this thing bigger and better every week as we try to build this up. And to your point, Rablo, just create a fun wrestling community, and make it happen. So, want everybody to have a great week. We'll be back next week. But hey, please subscribe and like on SoundCloud, and try to get over to iTunes also. And leave comments because those help out, of course. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Rablo, anything you want to leave the people with, brother?
No, man. This is gonna be a good one, guys, and you guys are now just seeing the start of it, and this is gonna become something really, really big. So you guys stay tuned because we have some phenomenal things coming. No pun intended.
That's right. All right, so we're out. We appreciate you. So big applause, all you guys. And so now it's time to head on out. You know what we do. You know how we do it. So. Actually, I won't be in the club. I'll be in bed. But, it sounds good to say I'm going to the club.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because